And here we go, starting to get into game 2 of round 2, once again on Storm.
Wait for it.
I'm
Wait
waiting.
for it.
I'm waiting.
Wait for it.
I'm waiting. Here
Oh!
we go.
All right, here we go. This is the round of 8, continuing on with Happy Death versus Atyla. Happy Death in the green Black Ops Striker. That makes it a Green Ops Striker on the left side.
And on the right side, we have Atyla in that carbon steampunk osprey, same as last round. Once again, this is on Storm.
This is a custom map by Shadow Ultima, who unfortunately has been knocked out of the tournament on his
On his
own
own
map
map,
nonetheless.
nonetheless. What indignity he has suffered.
But we can blame the desync.
Of course, of course. It
Happy
was a
Death
sure
going a
thing
little
before
bit
that.
untraditional here, dropping some Mortys on the lower outpost, trying to just get a quick neutralize. But Atyla
Does
is here
fail
to
to.
respond and does
And
quickly mop
Attila
that up.
had sensibly bunkered some creeps beforehand, meaning it's no problem for him.
So we're going to fall back and see the typical leapfrog towards middle. Both players positioning a couple Longhorns just out of range of those Goliaths is probably what's going to happen.
That's right, and Attila has interestingly got 3 heavy mines and a single Gaddy defending his bottom outpost. Historically on this map, heavy mines haven't really achieved all that much, but perhaps today will be the day.
There are some good choke points that can definitely be used.
Absolutely.
Uh,
And seeing as Happy Death does not in fact have the Osprey, the heavy mines could be much more effective against him, as he does neutralize that Goliath right on schedule, as both players are moving forward.
Happy Death moving right in. Attila is still kind of favoring that leapfrog Osprey style. Not a big fan of moving his units directly. He likes to have his mech very involved in all of his maneuvers.
That's right, and it looks like Happy Death has decided to go for it.
Dropping the distraction ratchet behind enemy lines, that's a bold
However,
move.
Attila has leapfrogged back and is now just firing in on that cluster without receiving a whole lot of return fire from anything except those Mortys.
Happy Death making good use of that command mode, just keeping that front line constantly changing location so that Attila can't just set up a defensive line against it.
That's right, and it looks like he might be sending it around the bend.
He's just going to go around the back. Nope,
That's
nope,
right.
changed his mind again.
Mind.
Just trying to trick Attila into moving his defenses back, and now he has to rewind and pull them up again. But he doesn't have the time to leapfrog all of them, so some of these tanks will get left behind. Happy Death once again with the directional change.
That's right, and he's just causing some real general confusion to Attila here, who has actually moved into this middle outpost almost, as he's the only one with units left on it, with Happy Death's cluster coming around the back once again, and Attila once again setting up that defensive line
He
a little bit
continues
further
to
out
hover
from the
around.
outpost than I would have thought he'd want to do, seeing as he could take advantage of that choke point. But Happy Death has once again turned direction and is heading back towards middle.
Happy Death just continuing to change his direction to force Attila to commit tanks into places where they're not doing him any good.
That's right, and Attila is going to start losing tanks if he's not careful here, as Happy Death's unified front is having some effect on him.
It's almost like he's stalling to build up a secret rebel push.
Well, where have we seen rebels before? Certainly not on this map. Yes, we have. We see rebels everywhere.
Happy Death finally committing to the push, going to go ahead and send these tanks in against Attila's
And
cluster
it
while
looks like
sending the
Attila
rebels in
is
towards middle.
not there to assist, which is going to be devastating for him.
And
as he
also
finally
dropping the
gets into
Mortys in the
response.
bottom right. Happy Death attacking 3 different places at once, and Attila's going to be hard pressed to deal with this.
Attila does, however, deal with the top push, and those Mortys are probably going to go down shortly, unless Happy Death is able to say something about it.
The rebels are on Y, going straight for fort.
However, there is a Tesla tower that's doing some work in rebuffing that, as he ends up sending his entire force down to that bottom outpost.
So Attila has been a little bit overwhelmed here, but none of his tanks have really died. Happy Death has taken heavy casualties and has gotten one outpost to show for it. Now,
That's right. However, that one outpost does have a lot of rebels on it, and he may be able to do something. Attila foolishly placed those heavy mines on the wrong side. Well, he wouldn't have known that it was the wrong side because of the very circuitous route that Happy Death took. But it looks like Attila is now going to attempt to reclaim that outpost.
he's pushing in. He's got the raw firepower as far as units, but the rebels keep moving, and that's really messing up the Longhorn. Plus, Happy Death is here with the Striker Sword, and the Osprey is nowhere to be found.
And the Osprey now does respond in time to save quite a few of those units, I would say. And those rebels are dwindling very quickly in the face of tanks and a Tesla tower. Once again, Atyla has been very well equipped to deal with this rebel meta, possessing both Gaddies and Tesla towers and heavy mines.
Happy Death only responding with Mortys, so he's pretty much given up this post, but is just trying to pick off what he can with his mech.
That's right, however, he has taken advantage of this distraction to build up rebels and Mortys in the middle outpost. And he somehow has managed to neutralize Attila's top outpost and keep it from being reclaimed this entire time.
Atyla has finally relocated. This is his entire army right now, is these 4 Longhorn and the Gaddy. He has nothing else.
And it's not much of an army to speak of, as Happy Death has been able to keep that outpost controlled and just wipe out his units with that Striker firepower.
Happy Death is spamming those Mortys because they are one of the most cost and build time efficient for the HP. So what he's trying to do is just keep this outpost his and do all of the damage with his mech.
That's right, and you could almost say that he's using them as artillery in this case. However, he now has firm control of that top outpost as well, leaving Atyla with just one post left, and Happy Death now moving in on it.
Now both players are level 7. The mechs are starting to get pretty buff here, so it's going to take a pretty significant mass of anti-air to really stop that mech harass from going down.
However, this does work in favor more so of Happy Death, as at this level the Striker is damn near unkillable without spamming AA, and it does huge damage.
Especially as that same Beppo Striker with the heavy buffs to both damage resistance and armor.
That's right. And Atyla has reclaimed his bottom outpost, but it comes at the cost of his top outpost.
So Atyla reclaims it, command modes out, and then notices the pile of infantry coming to attack it. But fortunately, he put a Gaddy down just in time to mop those up.
And that Gaddy is going to completely deal with it. However, now he adds a push to his fort to worry about, which he is able to respond to.
Happy Death just continuing to attack multiple locations at once. So he's got that fort push going down, trying to snipe this. He's also got units up on the top right that he's pushed. Just trying to keep Atyla from ever building up a line, because that's really where Osprey is the most comfortable, is when there's only one small front and he can tank all of that fire.
That's right, but with all the units coming down and all these different paths that Happy Death can utilize, he's just doing a very effective job of controlling Attila's ability to respond, as Atyla does start to reclaim all of his lost outposts.
But Happy Death is starting to get spread a little bit thin here. Atyla has reclaimed the posts that are his. Happy Death is running out of upkeep, and he really doesn't have a response to these tanks.
Swinging, as it is 21 to 39. However, that 39 is all that Atyla can build right now, as his credits are going to start to pile up unless he reclaims one of those outposts.
He's going to continue to use his mech to snipe everything he can. Atyla, sensing that he's a little bit more ahead than he really is, might be pushing for the fort here. No, it looks like he's going to the forward outpost of Happy Death.
That's right, it looks like he was planning to push in on that fort until he saw the Goliath, wherein he wisely decided to change direction. Atyla getting, you could almost saved by that level up, as it does give him a vital chunk of health to allow him to keep pushing in. And he has neutralized that top outpost. However, Happy Death somehow still has control of Attila's bottom, and has managed to use that rebel. That one patrolling rebel is doing a very sufficient job of keeping top outpost neutral as Atyla finally responds to it.
The creeps just can't hit him. He's so darn fast, man.
But we do finally have a Gaddy in there to clean it up. That Gaddy had previously just been sitting on the wrong side of the outpost, but no longer, as Happy Death finally loses his grasp on Atyla's side of the map, now forced to just harass.
And now everything everywhere is now contested. Happy Death trying to hover Atyla.
Low. However, Atyla does have that heal Nova, and he uses it to save his own skin.
He's just gonna wait it out.
That's right.
So Happy Death trying to keep the game going a little bit longer while he can rebuild his forces, keeping middle neutral and his forward.
The longer a striker goes, the more powerful it gets, as he's able to stack up those Blaster Guardians and those levels in Missile Burst.
When he hits level 9 or 10, he might actually be able to focus Atyla over his own outposts. No problem.
And if not Atyla, he should be able to start one-shotting tanks.
Happy
as he
Death
has
moving
pushed his
in,
forces out from his base.
but Atyla has already leapfrogged his entire force out and getting ready to go somewhere else.
That's right. However, you need to realize Happy Death does just not have the presence right now to really make an effective push. So those units are just sort of sitting in the no man's land. If this does drag out, Atyla's lack of Goliaths in his loadout may prove to be a detriment for him, as Happy Death will be able to build more.
And interestingly enough, not a single Bucky was seen that day.
That's correct. Well, to be fair, the line was never really static enough. It was never really static enough to hold any water and to build any artillery units for either side. Happy Death, of course, had no artillery units, so he was counting on them.
Happy Death going ahead and command moding all the way to bottom, probably just to mess with Atyla a little bit more.
That is right, and once again, he does just want to keep saving up credits here to build more rebels for that incoming rebel push. Maybe not the best decision when faced with a couple of Gaddys and a couple of Teslas.
Rebels do have a lot heavier armor than most other similar function light units, so Gaddys actually aren't as effective versus Rebels as you would think.
That is true, however, the Teslas are able to do some work.
So Happy Death caught with his army out of position as Atyla pushes towards the fort, but he's got this wall of rebels just standing in the way.
However, Atyla is now retreating, which is going to give those rebels rear armor damage.
You've got the rebels pounding it up the butt, but he does fall back with those.
That escalated quickly.
We'll make it an M-rated stream, it's okay.
That is right, and once again, if you weren't paying attention to the rest of the map, Atyla has a handful of Longhorn at his post, which he is at his main post, which he's pushing out, in addition to another handful at his forward, which shows that he is taking advantage of being able to build at multiple outposts to get a larger army up quicker. And now he's being aggressive towards one of Happy Death's forward outposts, whereas Happy Death is doing the same thing at the mirror outpost, right across the street.
Arguably should not have retreated those rebels. He had a really good position on Atyla's army right there, and could have taken out a lot of tanks.
Well, now he's just got an absolutely massive cluster at his base, compared to Atyla's units, which are spread out over the entire map, and that could lead to a decisive engagement for Happy Death that once again swings the pendulum in his favor.
Yeah, Atyla does have a sizable upkeep advantage, but I feel like that difference is mostly positioned at that bottom outpost. He could push out en masse from that bottom outpost and link back up together at that bottom left pretty simply.
He's going to have to deal with those mines first.
Happy Death trying to explore new territories, going on the top just to see what happens. Atyla has not spotted this yet.
There's only one Gaddy defender. This could actually take down the outpost, as Atyla's thoroughly distracted.
So this should pretty handily wipe out the top right if he wants it, but he may just be going for fort, knowing that it's fully undefended.
However, there is a Tesla tower and a Gaddy.
So
and
he
does
end up switching
to T. To the top.
But now he's finding himself in enemy territory with no infantry, so my guess is he will
Atyla,
flop them back on wide.
Shoving into heavy mines. Look at this, those 3 heavy mines are absolutely going to devastate that tank line.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, that hurt. That hurt to see. However, Now Attila has to defend against this rebel push.
Rebels on the corners are going to do a
Sure,
ton
what
of
he can
damage.
do, as this could be the end of the game.
He's trying to make it a base race, but Happy Death just has so much at his fort that Attila's
That's
entire
right.
army is going to dissolve right now. So,
And
uh,
once again, those tickle cannons aren't going to be sufficient to stop rebels, as Attila just keeps building gaddies, which aren't going to be as effective against the rebels, like you said.
so even if Attila
So,
manages to stop this right here, he is going to be at a significant disadvantage.
that's right, but he might not be able to stop it, as Happy Death is doing some very effective command mode micro to keep his army alive long enough to just barely finish off Attila's base.
He's just going to keep wandering away from those gaddies.
And it looks like it's going to be enough, as Happy Death firing in on the corners himself to finish the job,
Yep.
leaving a bare sliver that a base drop could easily finish off. And once again, Attila's army got absolutely diced.
He's just waiting for his missiles to recharge. There you go.
And there it goes. Victory to Happy Death, as Attila perhaps mismicroed, or mismacroed.
But overall, a very interesting use of command mode for Happy Death, going this way, then that way, then this way, then that way, just keeping Attila on his toes the whole time.
That's right. And he did manage to do a very effective job of eliminating him at the end.
Stealing the win, Happy Death will advance to the semifinals, and we will be right back with the next game.